Hello everybody, it's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so glad you guys could join me today. We have a fabulous video lined up for you. It is super flashcards. If you're a fan of flashcards, you're going to love what we're creating today. I call them super flashcards because I'm going to take 4 flashcard pieces and create 4 cards. This allowed me to get a lot more color on the cards. It was a ton of fun to create. I think you're going to really enjoy this one. I've got a lot to share with you and a tutorial as well. So I say we get started. Let's go over the cardstock you need to create the cards. Isn't this great? This is all the cardstock you need. It does not take a lot. You're going to need 4 card bases in Whisper White thick. Now for me, just because I like to change things up, I have 2 that are 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have 2 that are 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5.5. And then because this is a flashcard, we have 4 flashcards today. Highland Heather, Pool Party, Soft Sea Foam, and Petal Pink. These are all the same size, 2 3/4 by 4 1/4 inch. And then we need 2 of the neutral pieces, and I'm going to use Whisper White today. I have 2 of those, and that is 2.5 inches by 4 inches. My ink pad colors match the cardstock that we use. So again, Highland Heather, Pool Party, Soft Sea Foam, and Petal Pink. We're going to be using something brand new today. I'm going to be using 2 stamp sets from the brand new Ornate Garden suite. I love this one. I have the Ornate Style and the Ornate Thanks. And I want you to notice Ornate Style just has a lot of really great floral images and some swirls. But Ornate Thanks is strictly a sentiment stamp, 19 sentiments. Oh my goodness, we have quite a bit going on in there. I do want to tell you though, this project could be made with your favorite stamp set and your favorite sentiments, but I wanted you to know today we're going to be focusing on the Ornate Garden suite. All right, now you know what you need to create the cards. I want to share with you just briefly a little bit about the tutorial. So inside this tutorial, you're going to have the supply list, you're going to have diagrams, measurements, there's images here and complete instructions for the cards. It's a very simple tutorial. And I decided with COVID-19 causing so much havoc amongst us, right now I'm going to be offering this tutorial at 50% off. So be sure to check that out over at SimplySimpleStamping.com. Up there in the blue menu bar, way up at the tippy top, you're going to see the Simply Simple Stamping Store. That's where you can order this tutorial. And until this pandemic is over, we're going to continue to offer this one for 50% off so that you can create and mail Happy Mail to your friends. All right, that's enough about the tutorial. Let's get to stamping. The first thing we need to do is we need to stamp on all 4 pieces of our cardstock. So I'm going to start, well, Petal Pink's on top, so I guess we're going to start with Petal Pink. And we're going to ink up that great big floral image. And when I stamp this, because I got to fill up this whole piece of cardstock, I want you to notice here, do you see I'm going off the edge of the cardstock and I'm also at an angle? Yep, I did that for a reason. Now I'm going to ink this up again. And then I'll stamp here on the other side. So do you see how I pretty much filled up everything? All right, I'm going to repeat that now. Let me do Soft Sea Foam next. Before I do, I need to clean my stamp. I need to get that Petal Pink ink off of there so that now I can come in with my Soft Sea Foam. And now we're going to repeat that exact same thing. So I'll stamp here. Let's rotate it around. Ink up my stamp one more time and just stamp right next to it. All right, guys, I'm going to go repeat that with my remaining 2 pieces of cardstock. Again, I'm just going to match my ink to my cardstock. All right, our flashcard pieces are done. Now it is time to do the cutting. As I said, there is a diagram for the cutting in the tutorial, but we're going to start with, I'm just going to start here with the Highland Heather. And the first cut we're going to do is we're going to cut 1 inch off of the side. Now, by the way, you're going to repeat this with all 4 of these. So I'm going to go ahead because I really do want to kind of keep things moving correctly. So I'm going to cut 1 inch off of each one of my flashcards. I'm now going to take the 2 3/4 inch. We're going to put that up at the top, and we want to cut this down to 1 1/8 inch. So we're going to take 1 1/8 inch. Let me set that one off to the side so that I can keep these separate. So I want to cut each one at 1 1/8. Let me set my paper trimmer off to the side for just a minute because we need to do something on the edge of each of these. So let me start here with, this is a 1 5/8 inch, and I have got a 1 1/2 inch circle punch. And what I want you to do is I want you to punch as far over to the right side as you can. And we're gonna give ourselves a little punch. I'm gonna trim this in just a minute. We just wanna get our 1/2 inch circles punched out of all of the 1 5/8 inch pieces. Now I can take these and I'm gonna cut this down to 1 5/8. That's just a little hair past 1 1/2, and that's gonna give me a perfect square. So we'll cut each one of these down 1 5/8. And hey, here's a little tip. Let's say you were to cut one of these wrong. Not a problem. Just trim all of them down to the same size. That's all you need to do. So if you get any of the cutting wrong, not a problem. Not with this project. We can tweak anything. All right, so there are my squares. There are my circles. Now we can come in, and the last ones that we're going to cut, this is the 1/8. And we need to do a flower. Now we're going to have to get a little creative, guys. So the stamp set Ornate Thanks also comes as a bundle with a set of these fabulous border dies. And I was going to show you how to create with the border dies, but if you are watching this around April 2020, we are in the middle of a COVID-19 pandemic. And because of that, we have had some issues getting these dies in, and they are on back order. So let me share with you, there is a great flower here in this die set, and we need to punch or die cut one from the absolute edge here of each one of these strips. Now, if you have this bundle, you are great and you are good to go. You can die cut those. If you don't, you might try the little small flower punch. Do you guys remember this one? This was one of our celebration offerings. So you could come in and you could punch a flower that way as well. Don't have this, let me tell you, it does not matter. You can still create. Just find one of your dies that you might have that you could punch. You know, I was even looking at my butterfly duet punch. That I could cut a little butterfly as well. I just need a little something out of that. So for this card, I am going to go ahead and use this flower, but not to worry, I'm going to show you a set created with this one. All right, you can see I have all of those cut. You'll notice the stamping is on the back. We're going to use the unstamped side. Now it's time to trim these down. And guys, I'm just going to bring that trimmer back in, and let's cut this down to 2 inches. And you can see I had plenty of room for punching that flower. You guys know I love to reduce waste. That is all the waste we are going to have from our project today. All right, now we do have a couple pieces of Whisper White. This is going to be for our sentiments, and we're going to cut a few more flowers. So again, there's a diagram, so super easy. So the first piece we're going to do, I'm going to put the 2 1/2 inch side up here at the top, and let's cut it down to 3/4 inch. And that's going to be for 1 centimeter. I'm going to set this piece off to the side for a minute because we're going to do cutting on that one. The remaining piece, we're going to put the 4 inch side up at the top, and let's cut it down to 1 1/2 inches. And that is for one of our other sentiments. Now, so there's the 2 for my sentiments. Here's the 2 for some cutting of those flowers. Remember, I could cut my flowers or punch my flowers with this, or with the flower here. Now, I am going to tell you, I really only need 6 flowers, but in the diagram I had you cut 8. That way you have, you know, a couple extra. Maybe you want to put it on the inside. So we'll cut 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll get our 4 on here. And then we can get 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, like I said, if you have any mistakes or anything, don't worry about it. We really only need 6. So let me do some quick die cutting. My favorite stamp. and that is a clean pencil eraser. I love to use these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little center here for my flowers. I'm going to take that pencil eraser, ink it up. I'm going to start with Highland Heather, and I'm going to take that and just stamp it right there in the center of my flower. That makes it really cute. Now I'm going to do 2 in Highland Heather, 2 in Pool Party, and 2 in Petal Pink. Again, you've got those extras. We'll just hold on to those in case we need them. But let's go ahead and get our sentiment stamped. The first one we're going to stamp is So Grateful, and that's going to go right here in the center. That's the 3/4 by 4 inch. So there's my So Grateful. Now for this one says thank you, and I've got to show you something that I did. I purposely cut that stamp in half. So I wanted to be able to say thank and you and put them, instead of always having it long, I wanted to be able to break it apart. But look, if I want to put it back together and I want it to be one long one again, it's just like putting together a puzzle. Boom, back together, perfect. So I love being able to work with my photopolymer stamps and being able to cut them. So yes, I have cut my stamp apart. So for this one, I'm going to start with the word thank. We're going to put that right up here at the top. And now I can come in with the word you right underneath, and to center it up, it goes in between hand. All right, a little more stamping on this card. I'm going to come in with Pool Party, and in the Ornate Style stamp set, we have this really great little corner border. Love it. I'm going to stamp it in each corner. I'm probably bringing it in about 1/4 inch or so. All right, now we're going to take our 1 by 2 3/4 inch pieces, and I'm just going to lay them right there on my card. You notice they're all kind of butting up against each other. Now we need to adhere these down, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. If you prefer, you could do this upside down, which you are welcome to do this way. If you find it a little bit easier, you can do that, and we could just put a little tape on that, or you can adhere each one right onto the card, whatever way you feel is easiest for you. But I want to give you my big helpful tip as you create. Actually, anytime you're creating on something like this, it's usually best to start with one piece. We'll add our adhesive, and I'm going to line that one up, but I'm not going to press it down. I'm just going to kind of lightly tack it in place, because I want the option to move it later. All right, we're going to keep adding these. If you enjoy flashcards, I would love to hear from you. Just give me a little thumbs up on YouTube, or maybe leave me a comment. I always like to hear from my viewers and how they enjoy flashcards. All right, when you're happy with it, we're going to give that a nice back rub. All right, now we're ready to adhere our sentiment. You notice it's a big, long sentiment. This is such a great time to bring in what I like to call the Stampin' Dimensional bones. Yes, we all have these little leftover strips, and I'm going to use one of those. And let's see, yep, that edge is going to fit on there perfect. It's a great way to use up what I've got. Nothing's ever going to get wasted around here. So let's peel off the backing, and we're going to add this sentiment right here in the center. All right, I'm going to take one of my Highland Heather and one of my Petal Pink flowers. And I've got my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to take the large end of the stylus. There's a thinner ball and a larger one. We're going to use that larger one. And I'm just going to have you very gently give that flower a press. And you see it gives it some really nice dimension. We're actually going to be doing that with all the flowers. And now we're just going to adhere these right here onto my sentiment. I just think this gives it a little extra something. Now we're going to add this one right down here. Very sweet. Now I do want to show you, you can doll these up a little bit more, and we can do that by changing out our tool. We're going to use our paper piercer, and let's add, I think I'll go with these medium-sized rhinestones. And this will give it a really nice, pretty, nice shiny, because we like to have things that have bling. But you notice it allows that color to still peek through. And here's the flower where I did it with that little small flower from Celebration. So there's a couple different options, but you see how easy that card was to put together. Moving on to card number 2. All right, for this one, it's much like the one that we just did, only this time the cardstock's not going to be butted up against each other. We're going to leave about a 1/4 inch in between each space. Now guys, rather than have you sit here and watch me do this, it really is just like what I just did. I'm going to gently tack these down. All right, I'm good with that. We're going to do a little stamping. So we're going to take, remember our thank and you? Let's put our you back together. And remember, it is just that easy to just line that right back up, just like a puzzle. We're going to stamp thank you right here. We'll do that in Highland Heather. And we're going to stamp that so that we're lined up here with the edge. So I'm going to come in with a Pool Party ink pad. And I love that this stamp set has these little separate words, because now I'm going to have a little sentiment here that says, just wanted to say, and we'll stamp that, I'm going to bring it about right there. Just wanted to say thank you. And then I've got those same flowers. Remember how we kind of gave them a little pop? I did that again. So we're going to add these, just pressing them on to mini glue dots, super easy. And we're just going to come up and around our sentiment. And then again, rhinestones, optional, but it sure does make a great statement. This is the one then with the flower, but I wanted you to see both of those side by side. Isn't that just a great card? Okay, let's move on. Card number 3, here we go. And remember, the complete instructions for the cards are here in the tutorial. All right, card number 3. This one is going to be with the squares, and then we're going to use that thank you. So I think you're going to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. Yep, I'm going to add those squares. You guys saw me do it. We're going to do it again. So remember the tip. Don't press anything down. Again, I've got about a 1/4 inch in between. Let me adhere these in place. All right, I'm good with that, so I can give that a press. Now for my thank you, I'm going to come back in with my Stampin' Dimensional bones. I'll cut this one in half. Yep, and that one fits just right here at the top and the bottom on our sentiment of thank you. We can add that. Now we're going to do another little bit of stamping. And in Pool Party ink, this time we're going to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that fits so nicely right down underneath those squares. Don't you love it? It really is so soft and pretty. Let's add a flower. And let's see, I think I'm actually going to add this one down here in this bottom corner. Let's add a rhinestone there. So let me bring in my other one. And yeah, that's just that little Pool Party center of the flower. Isn't that just so bright and cheery? A great way to say thank you. All right, guys, time for our last card. This is probably my favorite. That's probably why I saved it for last. I'm going to take the sentiment that says, you're amazing. I think this is just probably one of my favorite types of sentiments. It kind of just says it all. I'm going to stamp that over here on the right side. I'm going to just place adhesive on the back of all 4 of my circles. And kind of like you've seen me do, just kind of play around with the spacing. I think I like that. Now remember, these are the flowers that we just cut out. Remember, it was stamped on the back, but we're not going to use that side. Now you notice I didn't do the stamping in the center of these. No, I didn't. I decided to just leave these as is, but we're still going to go ahead and give them that little pop because, you know, we love good dimension. All right, let me come back in with my mini glue dots, and we're going to add our little flowers. And here's just a kind of fun tip. So when I'm adding these flowers, see how I have a little bald spot right there? Yeah, I can hide that. So I'm going to put those flowers anywhere where I feel like it just needs a little something. And I'm going to alternate the colors. Again, that just kind of helps brighten everything up. And for these flowers, I'm going to go ahead and go with the largest rhinestone because remember, I don't have that little circle stamped there in the center. So I'm going to just add those rhinestones. I just think they and kind of cover up those holes a little bit. Always remember to come in and give those flowers a little fluff. I'm going to bring in the other card, which I now see I actually stamped in Highland Heather, but that's okay. I liked it in Pool Party. You notice on these, I actually got a little creative. I added the gold faceted gems. I thought those looked really pretty in the center of that flower. So again, it's a great opportunity to look through your embellishments, see what you have, what can you use. Now, I do want to tell you, all of my cards are blank inside. I love blank inside cards, but I do want to share with you just a quick way to add a little color to the inside of your card. Now, the color that you choose, obviously these cards all have the same color combinations. I'm just going to use Pool Party here, and I'm just going to stamp just the corner of my card. So feel free to go ahead and add that little bit to the insides of your cards. I just think it really adds a nice touch. All right, I just wanted to come back in with all of the cards so you could see them again. So whichever flower you choose, remember, if you don't have either one of these, look in your dies, look in your punches, see what you might already have. Guys, it's such a fun way to get creative. Remember, this stamp set can be anything. These sentiments, they can be anything. It's all about this simple layout. And you saw it was actually some very simple cutting, all done with a flashcard system. And there you go, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed the cards today. Hey, if you did, would you do me a favor? Would you give me a thumbs up on YouTube? I so appreciate that. And if you haven't already subscribed, it's a great day to be a subscriber. Guys, thank you again so much for being here. Go create and send something wonderful today. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.